Hello, everybody, and welcome to Right Here, Right Now, live Buffalo football talk presented by Forefathers Organics. I'm your host, Alex Brasky, alongside my co-host, Ajay Cybulski, here for the Batavia Daily and Livingston County News. Each week, we'll discuss Buffalo's favorite football team, along with all the comings and goings from Orchard Park. In this case, Indianapolis, thanks to our friends at Forefathers Organics in Dansville.
Unlock the power of nature with Forefathers Organics, your premium CBD store. We offer the highest quality CBD and hemp products to liberate your mind, body, and soul, helping you live happy and free. Our mission is driven by excellence and transparency, using cutting-edge scientific methods to combat stress and target issues at their source. From potent ingestible CBD to soothing topicals, all our products are USDA certified organic. Discover all natural wellness from farm to table. Visit forefathersorganics.com for more information.
All right, AJ, big win for the Bills in this one. It was a bit ugly at times, but they pull out the 30-20 win over the Indianapolis Colts, 13-10 deficit in the first half. They storm back with a late touchdown drive, and they enter the halftime break with the lead and then put it to Indianapolis during the second half. Nearly shut them out over the final two quarters, but Joe Flacco able to lead a late touchdown drive to make it the final 10-point margin. And first place to start is the takeaways, obviously, AJ. 4 total created by this Bills defense, a game in which the Bills offense was depleted. You knew you were going to need a lot from this defense, maybe for it to carry the day, and boy, did it. Taron Johnson, a pick 6 to get things going. Then Austin Johnson, a one-armed interception, at least from my vantage point, it appeared to be one-armed. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Greg Rousseau forces a fumble. Taylor Rapp, an interception off of a deflection. 17 points created off the 4 takeaways. The Bills entered the game 8th in the league with 15 takeaways. They're now up to 19 on the season. That puts them at 3rd in the league at the moment that I typed this in the press room moments ago. So this team is just one of the best in the NFL at creating those takeaways, and it really paid off for them today. And the way they were able to capitalize and add points after creating those takeaways, a big plus for them in this one.
Yeah, it was a team effort defensively in terms of the turnovers, right? Everybody was eating defensively, and everyone was making plays. That's what this Bills defense has done all season. Like you mentioned, those turnover numbers there, they only increased further today. So, again, this Bills defense, opportunistic, takes advantage. They also stripped Adonai Mitchell. Christian Benford had a nice peanut punch. It wasn't recovered by the Bills, but there was potential for a couple more turnovers forced by this Bills defense. So, again, overall, a very promising performance from this Bills defense. They continue to keep things in front of them. Obviously, the big run by Jonathan Taylor, but, Taylor Rapp with a huge tackle there and held them to a field goal. So that bend, don't break, turnover-oriented defense, that's what Bobby Babich and Sean McDermott have done this season. And obviously, Sean McDermott's been doing that for years now in Buffalo. And you look at now going to this year and how they've played, it's just a very welcoming sign. Again, they were without Michael Pittman Jr. Joe Flacco, I think, struggled at times, but overall the defense played up.
That might be putting it lightly.
Right. So they were good on. They capitalized. They beat a team that was fighting for their playoff hopes and on the road and got it done. So that's always a good sign.
Yeah, let's start with the Taron Johnson pick 6. A great read by him, but it didn't seem like Joe Flacco ever truly saw him. It was Josh Downs on the play, running up the seam. Taron Johnson kind of sat down in coverage, and Flacco made a poor throw, allowed Johnson to hop over and intercept it in the passing lane. But Johnson has been widely acclaimed as one of the top nickel cornerbacks in the league since earning that second-team All-Pro status last season. And despite some early injury trouble this season, he is living up to all of the offseason hype that was created by that second-team selection. And then Austin Johnson, a player who didn't have an interception in his entire football life entering this season, now with 2 in just a few weeks. And with the injuries at the defensive tackle position and with the inefficiency from that position group, I think Austin Johnson coming on as the season goes can only be a good sign for the Bills. And then Greg Rousseau, just with that wide wingspan, bursting into the backfield, creating that forced fumble. Damar Hamlin falling on it, kind of a revenge situation for Hamlin against the 2023 Comeback Player of the Year and Joe Flacco. I think they were talking about it on the broadcast, and then Hamlin, next thing you know, hops on the loose ball. So a great moment there from him. And then Taylor Rapp, great concentration on that interception off the deflection near the sideline. Just 4 really, really nice plays. And I thought a big factor in helping create the turnovers today was the manufactured pressure brought forth by the Bills defense. A couple of blitzes sent. I can't remember which interception helped create or which interception the pressure helped create early on. But Greg Rousseau's forced fumble came off of a blitz. So I think the more and more that this Bills team finds correct times to dial up that pressure, it's really benefiting them more and more as the season goes along.
Yeah, I mean, Taron Johnson does what he does, right? They missed him greatly to begin the season, and I think he's really just come out of the scene. He's been on a tear, really, and he did it all today. A sack to add to his pick six, and was making plays, a couple of pass breakups as well. So Taron Johnson playing like an all-pro and continues to show why I think he's probably the most important player on this defense with the way it's, kind of created and how they kind of identify and go about their business. I think with the Austin Johnson play, again, good pressure from the Bills defensive line on that play. Like you said, play action. It was a screen pass, and the Bills struggle at times with those screen passes. It's beaten them in the past, but today Austin Johnson comes away with a nice pick and, sets the Bills up in favorable territory. And then the Greg Rousseau play, like you mentioned, just beats his guy and, like you said, uses his long reach to get around the offensive lineman and affect the quarterback, get a hand on it, and DeMar Hamlin jumps on it and makes the play. And then obviously to conclude the turnover parade from this Bills defense, I think it was, Taylor Rapp making an opportune play. Kind of a high throw to Pierce, I believe. I think it was a little high, went off his hands, and Taylor Rapp was there to make the play. So, again, this Bills defense making plays throughout the whole game. And, again, I think it bodes well. And a couple of weeks ago, I forget what head coach, I think it was Mike McDaniel going into that Dolphins matchup, talked about how the Bills make you not make mistakes, and that's how they kind of capitalize. And I think that's exactly what this Bills defense has done this year, and I think that's what they've done again today. Make teams make mistakes, play not conservatively, but passive-aggressively, and make the plays when you have to, and that's exactly what they did today when they needed them.
Yeah, and that Bills weren't really mounting any pressure early in this game outside of that early pressure from Von Miller, which helped create the pick six. And then I think once they started to manufacture that pressure, I think things started to pick up. So that'll be something to watch moving forward, whether or not they continue to rely on the blitz. I don't think they did it regularly by any means today, but certainly picking their time to do it, and it really worked well. Sean McDermott talked about the adjustments that Bobby Babich made at halftime. It just seems like the adjustments that they make on both sides of the ball at halftime, week in and week out, are just working wonders for this team, particularly offensively with all the slow starts that they've encountered this year. But also defensively, another note on the defense, I thought they did a good job stopping Jonathan Taylor. Two big gains, I think, for him in this one, maybe a 20-yard run and that 40 or whatever yard run that you touched on earlier. But aside from that, I thought they kept him relatively in check.
Yeah, 5 carries for 7 yards in the first half, or in the second half, after a 16-carry, 107-yard first half for Taylor. So I think you see right there what this Bills defense did. I thought the additions of Quentin Jefferson and Jordan Phillips popped a little bit today. Jordan Phillips on the interior made a couple nice plays, and then obviously Quentin Jefferson, I would say a coverage sack. Jefferson still made the play and took down Flacco, but great coverage by the Bills. Quentin Jefferson kept his motor work and burst through the line of scrimmage and came away with the sack on that fourth down. So I think there was some positives, too, from that interior. Didn't really, again, see too much from Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones, which was definitely a concern in a way. I think they, again, continue to really make those splash plays or at least wreak havoc in that interior. But, again, the depth today, Austin Johnson makes a pick. And then, again, Jordan Phillips and Quentin Jefferson make plays. So I thought the run defense did really well. And like you mentioned, the Bills defense with Bobby Babich continues to just at halftime come out with their pants on fire and make these stops in clutch times. And they continue to do it. They hold these teams to not a lot of points in the second half after maybe getting down early or getting punched in the mouth. And they always are able to adjust and make the correct adjustments to get it done. And that's what this defense has kind of prided itself on so far.
All right, shifting over to the offensive side of the ball. Josh Allen, not great in this game, but he was good when he needed to be. He was really good on that late touchdown drive, I believe a 13-play drive to help ice it, and then that big touchdown drive that I commented on late in the first half to help them regain the lead. On those two drives, Josh Allen was 7 of 9 for 105 yards passing, and he added 3 carries for 41 yards rushing and a touchdown from 13 yards out. So certainly not his best game overall. The 2 interceptions, really concerning, both poor decisions, poor throws. He's now got 4 interceptions in his last 3 games, at least 1 interception in each of those. I think his first 2 picks of the year, maybe you could blame on the receiver. Today, both interceptions firmly placed on Josh Allen's shoulders. Like I said, just poor decisions on both of them. But as I said, he was good when he needed to be on that late touchdown drive in the first half and then to ice the game. I don't think this was an MVP level performance from Allen, but he got it done when he needed to.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of how I thought of it when looking at Allen's day. 22 of 37, 280 yards, 2 picks. And then on the ground, I think he had a better day. 8 carries, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. So I think one of his best days on the ground is that dual threat aspect of this Bills offense. So again, I think Josh, the first one was, you can't really explain it. He threw it right into Zaire Franklin's arms. I think he was trying to look for Khalil Shakir on that left side, but it was an underthrow, and clearly Zaire Franklin was all over that. And then the second one was also a pretty bad decision. He's lucky that wasn't returned for a touchdown. Kenny Moore kind of tripped on himself. But again, he's another player that's, he was an all-pro in his career, and he's one of the better nickels in the league too. And he made plays all throughout the game. So again, I think Josh Allen, you look at what he did. He comes up with a touchdown run on that 13-yard scamper, and then in that second half on that final drive, I believe it was like a second and long, maybe like a second and 13 after the Bills were backed up on a holding penalty from Dawson Knox, and he picks up the first down with his legs and bursts through the hole to keep the drive alive, and then they eventually go on and score on that drive on that James Cook 2-yard run. So like you said, I think he did what he needed to do today. Not a beautiful or pretty Josh Allen game, but again, a game that he rose to the occasion when they needed him to, and they were able to get it done offensively, scoring 30 points, I think for the 7th time this season out of 10 games.
And Bills were without 2 receivers in this one. Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper both didn't play. Keon Coleman ruled out late in the week. Cooper was questionable coming into today, but leading into the inactives being announced, it was reported by Adam Schefter that he would indeed be inactive. Had a heavy wrap on that wrist throughout the week, so it was going to be surprising to see Cooper out there. And Bills struggled a bit in the passing game, but Mac Hollins, boy, he steps up once again. 4 receptions, 86 yards. Curtis Samuel got involved early. I think as the game wore on, his impact waned a bit, and that drop also on 4th down that was poked away by the Colts defender. But like I said, Josh Allen not at his best, but the Bills continue to go next man up and impress with this new look receiving core that continues to find ways to move the ball and score points.
Yeah, I think, Mac Hollins, I think, the first one of the catches, obviously Josh, was just his brilliance kind of getting away from the sack. And then the next defender tried to tackle him, and he kind of, used his legs and feet to avoid the tackle again. And then just, lofted it down the field for those extra 3 points at the end of the first half. And then, you look at what he did, a couple seeds to Mac Hollins too. I think he fit him into tight windows on the side. Hollins kind of got bumped on the line of scrimmage, and then he was in between that boundary corner and that safety on the left side a couple times, and Allen fit it right in on the money. So Mac Hollins stepped up 4 for 86 today. Khalil Shakir does what he does, 6 for 58, not a great day, but again, he had that quick screen, that tunnel screen that they love to run, and kind of puts the nail in the coffin and moves the Bills into Colts territory on that final drive. So another, big game for him. And then Dawson Knox stepped up, I think, too. Obviously, that beautiful seam throw from Josh over the shoulder to Dawson Knox where he caught it. And that next play was that rushing touchdown from Allen. So overall, I think players stepped up. You're down Cooper and Coleman. It's going to be tough to, really work offensively in terms of knowing you have that number one guy on the outside, especially because they still had Khalil Shakir in the slot. But with Dalton Kincaid going down early in that first half, or in the first half, I should say, and then also the absence of Cooper and Coleman, it's always a tough task when you're losing arguably 3 of your top 4 targets going into a game, and they still managed 30. So that's a really good sign that Joe Brady has everything under control in terms of what they need to do if guys do go out or do go down. And I think the Bills wide receiving core, they might not have proved anything really in terms of, I guess, in big games yet, but I think today against a Colts team, again, that was fighting for their playoff hopes, they showed up and did enough for Allen to help, carry this team to a victory.
Sorry if you mentioned this during that response, was disrupted a bit momentarily, but Dalton Kincaid goes down in this game with a knee injury. He leaves the field during the first half, heads to the locker room, comes back out in the second half with a brace on that injured left knee, tried to give it a go, but eventually removed from the game and termed doubtful. Spoke to him after the game, said that he tried to give it a go in the second half, but didn't feel like he could run or protect himself well enough to remain out there. So that's going to be something to watch. Kincaid certainly hasn't lived up to the expectations many placed on him during the offseason. A lot of people, including myself, calling for 100 catches, thousands 1,000+ yards and only 32 catches for 332 yards through the first 9 games of the season. Not sure what he had today, but hasn't really been all that productive for the Bills this season. But a big loss nonetheless, especially considering what you're already missing in that pass catching core. So it's going to be something to monitor for Kincaid throughout this week. We'll see if he can get back out there for this big time matchup against the Chiefs coming up in week 11. Back to the defense. Von Miller really stood out in this one. I think I commented on that already. That was on my agenda here, though. Also, we mentioned Quentin Jefferson, talked about how the blitz really helped the Bills defense in this one. And special teams, we'll move on to special teams. Tyler Bass, 48-yard extra point, AJ, and 3 for 3 on his field goals, 29, 47, and 28 yards. That means he is now 10 of his last 10 on field goals, if my memory serves me correctly. Seems to have figured things out. That 61-yard make against the Dolphins last week, obviously giving him a big boost. But even before then, was kicking much better, particularly on his field goal attempts. So Tyler Bass, 3 made field goals, extra point from 48 yards. Very positive day for him. Also, Sam Martin, a booming 60-yard punt that was down inside the 5. So he's quietly having a good season as well. Maybe the one concern on special teams, Brandon Codrington not downing 2 kickoffs in the end zone. One of them not a great return. The other one fumbled. Bills were fortunate to recover. Codrington has been bringing the ball out of the end zone all season long. It really hasn't worked consistently for him, that decision. So I think he's going to have to go back to the workshop on that one. It's only a matter of time before one of those decisions costs the Bills.
Yeah, Codrington, I mean, that can't happen. I got very fortunate, like you said, for the Bills to recover on that play. That ball shot forward. I mean, it was one of the clearest fumbles I've ever seen on my television. He got popped, and the ball just kind of got away from him. And again, the Bills fortunately recovered. But yeah, that can't happen for a guy they traded for. That's his specialty. That's his job. And when that's really your only role on this team, that needs to be the sure thing, is taking care of the football and making those correct decisions on those plays. Tyler Bass, I think, it's great that we're sitting here in week 10 going on to week 11 now, and we're talking about him kind of finding his stride. I think fans would have probably not admitted that back in the beginning of the season, that we'd be sitting here at week 10, week 11, talking about him hitting his stride. I think they would be talking about him potentially on the way out, or already on the way out, or them trying to find replacements. There was a couple practice squad kickers brought in during this season. So again, Tyler Bass finding his stride, the confidence, you can tell. I thought he was kicking the ball well today too. When he was kicking, it was very well struck. I thought the ball went through the uprights down the middle. It wasn't really, any concern of like when it was going in, if it was going to sneak in the upright or not. They were pretty accurate kicks. And then, like you mentioned, Sam Martin, it was good awareness. Like I tweeted about Josh Downs, like to not field it, because he was backing up inside his 4-3 yard line. And you've seen Brandon Codrington field those at times, and when he should have just let him go through the end zone for a touchback. And Downs kind of screws himself in a bad way, even though he made the right choice, because Sam Martin put great backspin on it. And that's just great punting. That's not really the fault of Downs. That's just really great punting from Martin to get that backspin on it, and then good special teams coverage to put them inside the 4-3 yard line there. So overall, I thought a great performance from the special teams. Besides that Codrington fumble. And again, we're sitting here talking about Tyler Bass hitting his stride in week 10 and week 11. That's much better than talking about his demise at week 10, week 11.
All right, before a few more topics and we get out of here, let's thank our friends at Forefathers Organics. At Forefathers Organics, their mission is to liberate, educate, and innovate with the highest quality CBD and hemp-derived products for your mind, body, and soul, so you can live happy and free. Visit them at 87 Franklin Street in Dansville, online at forefathersorganics.com, or call them at 585-335-2223 to learn more about the products they offer. Maybe a few more topics from this game, AJ. One for me, the 4th down decision for the Bills in the first half. You're up, seemingly running away with the game against the Colts, and on a 4th and 3 from, I believe, Indianapolis's 11-yard line, Sean McDermott elects to go for it. Doesn't work out. Turnover on downs. Colts seize momentum and end up taking the lead in that first half. It really seemed like you had the Colts reeling off those 2 interceptions early in the game. You're moving the ball well. You're not able to finish the drive in points like you do, like you'd like to. But giving them that opportunity to get the fourth down stop and to get some momentum back, I thought a questionable decision made by Sean McDermott. They've been aggressive all year, have the Bills. They entered today's game, I believe, 9 of 9 or 10 of 10 on fourth down tries. This was their first miss of the season. They responded later in the game with another fourth down conversion. So a high percentage play for the Bills this season, but this one certainly didn't work in their favor.
Yeah, they've been converting fourth downs all year. I understand the decision. My dad was not happy with it. He thought they should have kicked it on that 4th and 3. He was like very adamant that they should have kicked it. But hindsight's always 20/20, and you look at again the situation. It's tough because it was a great play by the Colts defender to break that up. Obviously, Curtis Samuel was the intended target there. Kind of just tried to sit right at the first down marker, and the Colts defender was clearly very aware of what was coming and made the play. So again, I like the aggressiveness. Would I probably have kicked it there? Yeah, like you mentioned, 4th and 3. That's a little longer, right, than a 4th and 2, 4th and 1. So I would like to see them take that 2-possession lead and kind of gain a comfortable edge in the first half, at least, in terms of that. But maybe Sean McDermott learns from that. And again, I think in a game, in a different situation, different circumstance, I'm sure he would kick it. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I think that is noteworthy because I do agree. I think with my dad and you, I don't know if you clearly said that they should have kicked it, but I think they should have kicked it.
Yeah, that was in one of my 5 takeaways on the Batavia on the dailynewsonline.com. I thought it was a questionable decision. Like I said, just you gave them all the momentum when they had none to show for. So I just didn't think that was the right move from Sean McDermott. Any other thoughts from this one, AJ? We'll go through the numbers. Bills 7 of 14 on third down. They hold the Colts to 4 of 11 on third down. Both teams averaged 5.9 yards per play. Bills with 8 penalties for 54 yards. They win the turnover battle 4-2. Time of possession won by 5 minutes in the Bills' favor. Relatively even game if you look at the stat sheet, but obviously those 4 takeaways for the Bills make a big difference.
Yeah, I think we could talk about the like where this Bills team ranks, or if, like you said, the best version of this Bills team at 8-2.
Correct. That was going to be the next thing, but nothing from this game left on your mind. You had Flacco. Did you think that the Colts should have gone to Anthony Richardson at any time in this one? I mean, it looked like Flacco had absolutely nothing.
Maybe inside the red zone. Me and my dad were talking about that again too. Like, I'm surprised they don't have anything like designed inside that 10-5 yard line, because Richardson's legs are obviously so beneficial, and it's not like the dude can't throw the ball. He can't throw it, and he's had moments where he's shown he can do that. So I think maybe inside the red zone I would have liked to see it, but in terms of starting, I don't really know. I mean, maybe they do turn back to Richardson now. 4-6, you lose 2 straight. The offense is struggling. Flacco, I think, again, didn't really play that well, albeit without Michael Pittman Jr., but I don't know how much of a difference that makes. The Josh Downs drop obviously hurt Flacco in that opening drive, or the second drive in the first half, whatever, when the Colts had an opportunity there to score. But yeah, overall, I think, this Colts team was shorthanded with Michael Pittman out, and the defense, I thought Kwity Paye and DeForest Buckner, they generated some pressure. I don't think Allen was totally comfortable on that overthrow to Dalton Kincaid, where you could argue, I guess, that Kincaid could have made the catch. It was a little bit of an overthrow there, and Josh obviously would have loved to have that one back. And then also on that 3rd and goal, when the Bills were forced to kick the field goal to go up 23-13, Allen was pressured and just kind of threw it out of the back of the end zone, intended for Quentin Morris with Kenny Moore in coverage. So I think this Bills team handled its business. They did what they were supposed to do. They beat an inferior team. They got off to a quicker start, battled through adversity after allowing 13 straight points, get back in a rhythm there at the end of first half, and then in the second half kind of have done what they've done all year, man. Pull away. Made those opportune plays at the right times, and now you're sitting here at 8-2, and I mean, I think the Jets are getting the what beat out of them against Arizona, and so I think it's going to continue to look up for this Bills team for this AFC East title for the 5th straight year.
All right, now let's move on to that overarching discussion. Bills at 8-2. It's the best start for the Bills under head coach Sean McDermott. Their best start since 1993. Funny enough, they also started that season 8-2 with a win over the Colts, and then they were beaten by the Chiefs the following week to fall to 8-3. So we'll have to stay tuned for that one. At least that was tweeted to me. I haven't checked that myself. Somebody tweeted that to me, so I haven't verified, but I'm choosing to trust the Twitter world. And why don't I give some credit on that if I can in a moment? But the overarching discussion, AJ, is this the best Bills team under Sean McDermott? It's their best record, but I'm not so sure that this is the best team. That 2020 team with Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs, John Brown, a ton of offensive weapons, offensive firepower. I think that remains the most talented, best team under Sean McDermott and Josh Allen. But I'll tell you what, with the expectations entering this season, many of the talking heads had this team at second, some third in the division, transitional rebuilding year. To come out 8-2 and have your best record under this head coach, boy, that's got to be gratifying for this Bills group.
Yeah, I'm going to try and phrase this the best I can. And like I think you mentioned, I don't think this is the most talented Bills team that's ever been assembled by Sean McDermott, but I think this team has the unique opportunity of getting a high seed to start the playoffs at 8-2 now, and you play the Chiefs next week to potentially give them their first loss. And then also, I think this team is built to win games in January more than other teams in the past. And what I mean by that is they have that balanced attack with James Cook on the offensive side of the ball. They can give him the ball. They got a Ray Davis who's been doing a good job. Ty Johnson's been a quality third-string running back. I think he actually did a couple nice things today. We haven't really talked about Ty Johnson, but I thought he made some nice completions in the passing game on that final drive down the first half. He came away with a key third down conversion to allow the Bills and Josh Allen to make that heroic throw to Hollins there to get a field goal at the end of the half. So I think this Bills team, in terms of how they're built and how they're structured, I think losing Stephon Diggs has helped the team in a sense of they are now more balanced. They can turn to the run in the second half, right, when they're ahead, and they can kind of bleed some clock. And these sustained drives that this Bills offense continues to put together, these 12, 13-play drives that take time off the clock, they continue to do it each week. And you saw that with the Bills teams in the past, but it wasn't as consistently. It was a lot of, high firepower, those big highlight plays from Allen down the field. And I think you're just seeing a team that's built to win in January. And then defensively, if they continue to adjust like they've been doing on that side of the ball, I mean, you can't really argue that you can't trust them, but you can't argue that you can't trust them because they've yet to show it in the big games. But I think with what we've seen so far from Bobby Babich in this defense, you get Matt Milano back here probably coming up in the next few weeks, and hopefully you can stay healthy on that side of the ball. I think this Bills defense is also playing turnover football, getting the ball to the offense, making key stops on those third and shorts in the run game. They're doing a great job of clogging those lanes. Like Jonathan Taylor got stuffed a couple times, although he broke it. I thought the Bills run defense did great today. So overall, this Bills team is not the most talented, but I will say I think it's the most well structured and philosophically. I think they're kind of understanding what they need to do to win those games when they matter most.
Yeah, I agree with that. The implementation of the running game, the short passing game, I think are the two key pieces for this offense this year, and two things that may help them sustain that offense come the winter months in the postseason. But let's look ahead to this matchup in Week 11, AJ. It's going to be a great one. Bills taking on the Chiefs. The Chiefs might be the worst 9-0 team of all time. The 2020 Steelers might have a claim to that, but boy, do they have a horseshoe up their ass as well. They're staring 9 or 8-1 dead in the face the Broncos with a chip shot field goal. And I mean, you have to give them credit. They continue to make the plays, but they block the chip shot field goal. They win 16-14 over the Denver Broncos. So call them lucky, call them whatever you want. This team remains on top of the AFC and in line to compete for a third straight Super Bowl title.
Yeah, I think it's going to be so tough to evaluate this week because, like, you look at the past couple of weeks, I thought the Bills have played well. Miami gave them a real, run for their money, and they came away with the big 61-yarder to win, and they're winning. They've won 5 in a row, and they're hot, and that's always a good thing. But on the Chiefs side, they haven't lost this year, but they're kind of finding ways to win, like you mentioned, on these last-second heroics from whoever it is, the special teams, the defense, the offense. It's kind of on every phase of their game that's kind of contributed to this. These one-score victories that they continue to pile up. So, the Chiefs travel in, you get them when I think they're struggling to find their stride offensively. The defense is still playing at a high clip. They have a lot of talent. Chris Jones is obviously going to be tough. George Karlaftis is another key player. Justin Reed, the safety's playing lights out this year. You have a Trent McDuffie on the outside. Obviously Nick Bolton at the linebacker position. So they have a lot of pieces right on that defense to really stir up this Bills offense. And you're going to have to look at injuries for this Bills offense looking ahead, Alex, with Cooper and Coleman and how that's right. Kincaid, add him to that mix. So again, I think it's going to be an interesting discussion. I'm interested to see how the narratives shake out. It'll probably be The Chiefs are 9-0, and I'm sure a lot of people will pick the Chiefs to win. I'm sure a lot of people pick the Bills to win just because of the way the Chiefs have been struggling. But it's going to be, again, it's going to come down to late game execution from the Bills in this game against the Chiefs. And that's what it's going to come down to. They've showed at times this year against the Texans, especially, where they faltered, right? Coaching, the players, everything, the whole operation failed against Houston in the game they should have won. So now you get the Chiefs at home. You get to avenge a 2023 divisional round loss at home to them. And I think you're playing the Chiefs team that's vulnerable right now. The mental block of getting over them, 9 NFL teams, a lot of them have had that opportunity to get over that hump this year, but they can't do it. Maybe the Bills will be the first one to do it.
Yeah, Bills have had some good success against the Chiefs in the regular season. It's just come playoff time that they can't seem to solve them. So we'll see what next week has in store. I think the key for me in this one is a quite obvious one. You have to get pressure with 4 men. I talked about the Bills blitz and how that's worked wonders for them in recent weeks. You're not going to be able to do that against Patrick Mahomes. He eats the blitz alive. You have to get to him with Von Miller, Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa, and the rest of the group if you hope to have a chance to knock off the defending champions. Before we get out of here, let's thank our friends at Forefathers Organics in Dansville.
Unlock the power of nature with Forefathers Organics, your premium CBD store. We offer the highest quality CBD and hemp products to liberate your mind, body, and soul, helping you live happy and free. Our mission is driven by excellence and transparency, using cutting-edge scientific methods to combat stress and target issues at their source. From potent ingestible CBD to soothing topicals, all our products are USDA certified organic. Discover all natural wellness from farm to table. Visit forefathersorganics.com for more information.
All right, AJ, that's going to do it for the pod. And one more night in Indy here. It's been a good trip thus far. You asked me to rank my road trips via text message earlier in the day, and this one yet to conclude. So I think this one's working its way up the ladder slowly but surely, especially with whatever tonight has waiting for me. Some good eats, some Sunday night football, maybe the rest of the 4 o'clock window here. It's been a good start in Indianapolis. I went to St. Elmo's Steakhouse yesterday. Andy Young from Spectrum and George Blass from the Bills were nice enough to include me in their party, and had a nice steak, baked potato, and of course the shrimp cocktail, which got my sinuses going, brought a tear to my eye with the spice. But I am not going to lie. I thought St. Elmo's maybe not overrated, but I was expecting more. Very quality. Don't have any complaints, but maybe my expectations were too high going in. Perhaps that's what it was, but not let down, but certainly expected a little bit more out of St. Elmo's, I think.
Yeah, I mean, understandable. You got the juices flowing. Bills Mafia is probably all over the place. You're covering a Bills game tomorrow. You know, the juices are high. You're excited. Your expectations are high for everything. You think the Bills are going to win. You pick them to win. You hope your predictions come true. So I get it. I've been to Indy too for the combine. It's it's a great drive. It's not too far. I forget exactly what I had there, but I stayed right in the city, and yeah, it's a great experience there. The stadium's beautiful. Beautiful stadium and everything around it too. Like, it's very, very well organized and very beautiful facility. So yeah, I think, Indy's a cool place, and I'm glad you have enjoyed yourself and you got another night. So make the most of it, and hopefully some Bills fans are out there and you can have a fun night in Indy.
Yeah, the Knicks are playing the Pacers tonight. Game started at 5. If it was a 6 or 7 o'clock start, I think I for sure would have went. Maybe I'll make my way over there for the second half. Anyway, hop on StubHub, grab some tickets. But yeah, it's been a good trip. One more night here, and then back to Orchard Park for this coming week, Chiefs week. An exciting one for Bills Mafia for sure. But for AJ, I'm Alex. We will see you next time.
Peace out.